So hi, my name is, for people who just came in, I'm Sarah Bonnemaison. I teach at Dalhousie University in the architecture department. When I first met Philip, I was more of a lightweight structure person. Just came out of working with Fry Auto for a number of years. And bit by bit, I moved from the more technical engineering side of architecture into the more cultural side through doing a PhD in cultural geography. So I'm very interested in responsive environments, and I'm very interested in creating environments such as exhibitions to explain complex things. So when Philip told me that we got this amazing grant, I called him up and I said, "Are you really serious about this? Do you want people to really grow this knowledge bank that we're going to create? If so, we should really think seriously about going towards a major exhibition at the end and a book that can help future generations of people who think like us to keep on working. In other words, leave a trace, not just have really exciting workshops and then, then the grant is gone, the money is gone, and people say, well, what happened, right? So I offered to conceive and create a book and a large exhibition that would show both the results but also the process of this 5 to 6 years investigation. Why is it important to share the results? Well, I think what we're doing here will actually transform the way we dwell in the natural world that is all around us. And in fact, if we remember that oikos, the Greek word the root word for ecology, means the house. So I think it's high time we bring the artificial divide between nature and thing and the home together and break that divide. Oikos will bring it back together. How to go about it? The close relation between living nature and architecture is persistent and enduring theme throughout many cultures, not just the West. But in the West, it has become called organicism. Organicism draws from a deep yearning to learn from nature across disciplines. So I propose to present our research on living architecture through the idea and the philosophy of organicism. So I'll tell you a little bit about it so that you have a sense. The organic is, of course, one of the most commonly used metaphors of history in modern architecture and modern art. The dream for an organic totality is what drives it. I propose that it's worth reflecting on what the organic can do for us here. As we read Zemper, for example, we see that the defines of the Greek column, he defines it as organic. Not because of the decorations that are on the columns, but because it perfectly expresses the load-bearing drama that takes place in it and on it. A truly organic architecture, Zemper suggests, is an architecture that carries the reason for its own expression within itself, with its own material and aesthetic processes. So try to remember that column, it will come back at the end. Okay? So in Zemper's words, there are actually a strong and remarkably precise idea lurking right behind it, to do with imminence or transcendence, where transcendence refers to those theories of the divine presence in which the divine encompasses or is manifested in the material world. Here, the immaterial is the sunlight that is going through the colored glass, and then the material is, of course, the carved stone of the transept of Notre Dame. So the two are important. The two are like the two sides of the moon. In other words, the organic form is innate. It unfolds itself from within and reaches its determination of the fullest development of the seed, says Chegan. The important bit here is in the middle. It unfolds itself from within. The organic metaphor entails an idea of self-regulating systems, a little totality which carries the reason for its own challenge and development within itself. This was the idea applied to a wide range of phenomena, from biology to language, and from history to architecture in the 19th century. And in all those fields, the organic metaphor were used to designate and self-regulate system, which, like Zamper's column, you remember it, had no reference to the outside, so to speak. In other words, the organic form is innate and it unfolds within itself. It reaches its determination with its fullest development of the seed, and I said that already, so I'm sorry. The important bit here is the idea that the seed can generate more and more form. Here you see Florent Wright taking that idea, and according to Caroline Van Eck, this was the end of organicism. I wish Caroline was here so we could have a debate about it. But I would defer. I think that the idea of the seed kept on going very much. In the realm of mathematics, for example, with Benoit Mandelbrot, and the way he represented fractals, geometry visually. In all these fields, the organic metaphor is used to designate the idea of growth from one element outwards. So it's tempting to link the analogical power of architecture to the idea of microcosm. Here, microcosm for the first time becomes synonymous with self-regulating organic systems. The organic system of a little world, by virtue of itself, is referential. Under the influence of the natural sciences, to develop the theory of organicism, it inspired architects to design rooms just like organs. Yes, organs makes organic world. So architects carved out rooms just like going inside an animal. Also, you'll notice it's symmetrical. And they were fascinating by ordering the power of the bilateral symmetry as a way to unite different organs along the spine into one whole. But there is even more to them than you can imagine. The naturalist Georges Cuvillier's collection of animal skeletons you see here in the Museum of Natural History in Paris was a great source of inspiration. Because they were organized by their functional attribute, that the theory of natural evolution was ordered around an idea of species. Animal and their species were related by the shape of their skeleton. So animals with claws were really good at climbing trees, and animals with fins were really good at swimming in water. The idea was that even though the growth came from within, the shape of each part of their body determined by what it does and how it relates to the world it surrounds it. So the idea here is that interdisciplinary between the natural world and architects does produce new knowledge. At the end of the 19th century, the Art Nouveau brings the idea of unfolding from within to its height into a materiality of metal, glass, curved wood, and subtle craftsmanship and architectural elegance. Art Nouveau is a perfect example of this intensely introverted aesthetic as a refuge. Horta compresses the whole world into a domestic interior. The world is all its diversity, including the world of history, as organic unfolding, as growth, as development, through these continuously developing ornamental motifs throughout the whole house. The fascination with symmetry and the interior was shared by psychologists such as Rochart, who were experimenting with this idea of symmetry with ink blots. Rochart's assessment consisted in asking introverted patients to describe what they saw as a way to draw the patient unconscious into the conscious. So the act of folding the wet paper brings order into chaos by creating a bilateral symmetry. Like distorted reflections of our body, our mind slides right into it, and imagine all sorts of figures. I'm sure you do that now. So it all comes together in this Oxford Museum of Natural History, built in stone, iron, wood, and glass, designed by Dean and Woodward. The architect compresses the whole history of the natural world into its interior, including the world as history. Each column is made from a different stone, from a different place, and tells the geology of the earth. Decorations show organic unfolding as growth and development. The natural world designed as a dream of total organic unity, where even the tectonic appears to follow Zamper's theory of the clear sequence of assembly, from the heavy stonework in the ground, the building in the land, to the light iron of glass framework, is elevating the eye to see how the thin metal of the iron supports the filters of immaterial light. Here the divine is manifested in the material world. So today the figure of organic totality is prevalent, applied to everything from those blobs such as the Count House by Peter Cook to the so-called green buildings. One could be excused for thinking it has become an empty word. But I do believe that the research project that we're starting here is an opportunity to once again draw water from the deep well of the philosophy of organicism to think about living architecture means today. I propose to draw a fundamental aspect that makes organicism an aesthetic philosophy. The museum, for me, represents in my mind what we need to do here. Bring it all together under one roof. I wish we could build a building. Wouldn't that be fantastic? That's why we need more money. Where each voice, each one of you, could remain distinct. But the overall story, I don't know. Maybe the story is about metabolism. Maybe it's about integration. In our case, this story should be integrated and woven all throughout. And there is a need, and I would even say it's our responsibility, to leave a trace, not only a building maybe, but at least an exhibition and a book. This would be exploring the notion I just described. So here's my proposal to you. The notions of immanence, the seed unfolding itself from within, the organs and their individual functions, self-regulating organic systems, and microcosm. And you noticed I didn't use metabolism, because I think it would be great to stretch out and imagine what each of our disciplines can apply to those keywords. So I'm proposing to bring those keywords to the brainstorming session tomorrow, but we need post-its, apparently. Thank you.